Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Mitchell, Associate Editor for Special Features for Plume. Welcome to 7 Minutes with Afaa Weaver. Hey, Afaa. Thank you so much for agreeing to be with us this afternoon. And it's really a pleasure and an honor. Of the 3 poems below, including the incredibly beautiful audio recording that you made for the Michigan Quarterly Review of Attica, Attica and Ephemeral were written during the quarantine for the pandemic. Just one of the factors that seem to be exerting inexorable pressure upon all mankind right now: climate change, social unrest, political implosion. I wonder, could you talk with us about how these pressures came to bear on these poems?
Being restricted to the house, it seemed to bring certain memories into a more brilliant and perhaps disturbing focus. And I had drafted this poem a couple of years ago and had been thinking about it for quite a long time. Just, when Attica happened, it's over nearly 50 years or 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. At that time when I was talking to an older man, a coworker, who was pretty much near retirement and making comments about how bad it was at Attica and people were being killed. And without even stopping, without skipping a breath, he said, it should kill more of them. And of course, I took more of them or M, as I shorten it in the vernacular in the poem. I was thinking, he's talking about my community, my group of people and people I love, and some of whom are incarcerated and in various times. And it was just that feeling that I have as a Black person, that there is this really, really stubborn resistance to Black people even being in this country. And so it says, the feeling that were it not for us, things would be fine. Working on Attica, Reginald Dwayne Betts asked me to submit poems to the Michigan Quarterly Review, and I went back to Attica and worked on it because I couldn't write very much during that time, but I pulled that poem out and worked on it. And I wrote Ephemera, and Ephemera is about that question of what are we going to do now about the way that we treat each other, and about these democratic ideals that are not even being met and are being resisted being met for the benefit of Black and the poor people. And of course, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos. I mean, it's just, the time has come. The bill has come due on the democratic promise. And it's not just that, matter of giving people of color what they need and what they want, what they should have, but it's the understanding that we, as a society, the United States is one of the main drivers in climate change, and we have to own up to that. I say we with some hesitancy, and that's part of the issue of being an African American, using the third person, first person plural, we. We, really? When is we an operative pronoun? Of course, we all have to take, responsibility each time we step into a car, turn on a light bulb. In Thelonious, I try to get to the feeling, the emotion of this adversarial position that African Americans find themselves in, coming from families that were born here during the time of slavery, and then later immigrants who come here and find the same resistance and struggle, and how Black women have the highest rate of death in childbirth of anyone in the country. And it's just a very difficult situation. I think climate change and systemic racism are intertwined. and with an economic system that is, although very few people are willing to admit it, in crisis. And here we are at this crossroads. And if there's any one thing that's undeniable about all of this, aside from the very obvious suffering of Black people, it's the way the weather turns up every day. I mean, we've had thunderstorms here, the volume of which, volume as in sound, that I've never heard before. And it's as if the inner chambers of the sky are rattling and heaven is about to break wide open. But then the fires and the heat domes and the floods in Europe and China and the floods in the rest of the world and the devastation of farmlands. And it's not good. I mean, that's very euphemistic saying it's not good. But, and it also brings me to this, I think about Walt Whitman, and I take his work out sometimes more than I ever have. I have to confess I've not always been an ardent reader of Whitman, but his celebration of the potential of this country is like a helium boom that's about to be popped, He had such great faith in this place. And Lincoln was someone he admired greatly, I think. And he saw Black people as more of a problem, again, than anything. But it's almost as if we have to, if we look at Whitman and we look at Dickinson and the two pillars of, they say modern, but I would see that as white American poetry. I think Black people have to rewrite the faith in this place. And I think we are doing that, and we're doing it critically. As poets, we celebrate ourselves, but we have a little bit of a critique for you. Things are not going so well in paradise.